How you do, cousins? It's me, Rusty the Reseller, and I'm back, folks. I've been on a short vacation, but I'm back now, and I want to talk to you about a bunch of items that are small that I buy and sell regularly, and you can too. You can find these near you. I've got a long list of these. We're going to show you some of them, talk about how much we usually spend on them, what we think we can get, and I'm hoping we can arm you with some knowledge so that if you want to, if you're so inclined to make a buck or two, and not have to work terribly hard, well, these are some things to look for. Without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, everything that you're looking at here has come in recently, and I'm going through it today. I pulled these out because, number one, I can talk about it, show you, we'll discuss it, but then, of course, after I'm done videoing myself, do all this, you know, this is not just for your view and pleasure. This is actually stuff that I did buy to sell. Everything on this channel, by the way, is exactly as you see it. It is, if I say I bought it for a certain price, that means I did buy it for that price. Nothing's inflated here. There's nothing to try to make me seem like I'm doing a better job or making more money than I am. This is all as you see it. Like, I found these things at local thrift stores, antique stores, estate sales, places like that. I bought them at cheap prices. According to me, I think that they're good prices, and at least they're small enough of an entry cost that I know I can make some money back. And so what you're looking at, what we're going to talk about here, is a variety of genres of things. But one thing you'll notice is that the majority of what I have here is small, and that is what I try to focus on. So this is one of, not necessarily a secret, but it is one of the strategies of how I'm successful, is that if I buy something that's small, I know that it's going to be cheap and easy to ship. So it also requires very little space to store. So I can keep a lot more items in a space like this. You can see I've got a bunch of stuff up on the wall here. On this one side we're in level G today. On the west side, one of these rooms here in the warehouse. But we've got a lot of smalls. You know, is what they call them. We got pocket knives, keys, jewelry. Small, like what they would call like a pocket size screwdrivers, pencils, eyeglasses, chucks for drills, watches, spoons, marbles. All right, you're getting the idea. A small knife. Now, of course, we do have a couple of other pieces here, some glassware, some ceramics. These are not my favorite things because they're a little bit larger. This is like a little lamp. It's made to look kind of like an oil lamp, but it is a plug-in one, and it does work. Glasses. Up here we've got some decanter, like a crystal or glass stoppers for decanters, or possibly perfume bottles, like a... here's a good example of a perfume bottle, and it has it in here. This one right here is it says a Czech Republic, but this is a lead crystal. This would have been a little perfume bottle, and it's got a little rose up here. So that's it's nice. Whenever you're listing these, what I like to do is I'll photograph it, and I'll measure both the depth of this portion that would actually fit into the decanter or whatever it is, and also the width and the depth, because this is the part that's important. If they're buying it to replace one that got broken or lost, they want to know that it will fit correctly down into their vessel, right? So sometimes we have little pieces of clothing here, fabrics sometimes sell. We've got a couple of little clutches down here, and as well as a handful of some little snuff bottles. And so we've got a mandrel here, some tools. We're going to go over all of this. I'll do it categorically in no particular order or value, but we'll talk about that, and hopefully this will just add to your bank of knowledge, so that when you walk into one of these antique stores, into a booth, you're going to know more things to look at this time than the last time. Folks, if you have not tried it yet, go over to the YouTube channel What Sold. My brother's running that one over there, and it's all about the things we sold. You'll see exactly what we paid for it, what we sold it for, how long. It'll really help you out too. please go give him some love. It's only 2 months in, but man, it's going really well, and I'm so proud of that little guy. We'll start off with these old pocket or these small screwdrivers. Some of them, in fact, let me see here. Some of them are flat heads, right? Like this one. Some of them have dual, so they got the Phillips on the other side. But the interesting thing about these folks is that they are advertisements. Okay, so if you like advertising, old advertisements, these are pretty cool. This one's from Pekia, Ohio. It's the Hartzell Propeller Products. We've got Honeywell. We've got AC Delco. Here's one from Asheville, North Carolina, near where I'm at. Champion Supply. The list goes on. Industrial Machine. You'll never get screwed at Industrial Machine in manufacturing. Oh, goodness. Delta Foremost Chemical Corp. And the list goes on, folks. We even got the starter doctor here. Maybe that's I don't know. I don't know what that is. What do we got? What's with this one right here? If you can't fix it with this screwdriver, trade it for a big wheel. Yazoo at Yazoo Master Mowers. It's the original big wheel mower, in case you didn't know. So these guys, folks, I buy these sometimes in bundles like this for like $2 or something at little antique stores. You might even get them for 10 cents a piece some places, but there are people who collect these. There are people who buy them just to use them. I mean, they're still functional, right? So you could get them for that kind of reason. You know, you could sell them individually. Some people might be collecting certain products from certain towns. Maybe these companies are no longer in existence or something like that. And I've seen these sell in $20 and $30 range sometimes, individual ones. But most of the time, less than that. But here's the deal. If you can buy a bunch of these for $2 and then you sell them each for $1 a piece, well, you're making a really good margin on it. So these are cheap. These are easy. Tiny little screwdrivers is something that you can actually make some decent money on. Don't pass them by. Moving on, another thing I like to go through sometimes and sell small, we're talking about smalls here, are keys. Now these are actually, as far as keys go, not that small. You can see I bought this bundle for $3.50 and they're quite large. I've got 4 large keys here. And this one's definitely a little bit different, but you can see they're all kind of the same look. At the end, they've got this curve, either to the right or to the left. One of them, a couple of them are hollow, a couple of them are solid. Rusted, old, the tops of them, like, so what did these go to? I don't know. Did they go to like a jail cell? Did they go to like a gigantic lock for a door? Like, I don't know, right? But these are other things that you can sell individually. You can sell them in a lot like this. Then I've also brought some of these out to give you examples. Here's another one on a key ring. It's smaller. And these are smaller ones. They're hollow. And then this one right here is interesting because it actually it has another part in the middle, and it's rusted in there, unfortunately. But this would swing out as well. So kind of cool. Then we got these. These are more kind of like the what they call skeleton keys look, but you've got some interesting differences here. You've got the tops of them that look kind of unique and different. This one's interesting because it's made to just sort of go into a square spot and turn. That may not be, it's not the same kind of key as this, but it has some function. And then you've got others that I might sell in a lot that are all similar too, because these are the ones that they're basically flat, as you can see. And so these would have gone into things like little padlocks, or maybe these are for something like a not a safety deposit box, but like maybe a mailbox or something like this. This one I think is real interesting because look at it. Look how small it is. Got this tiny, and it's been bent, as you can see, bent over. But on these, you know, for research purposes, you can read what it says on this. This is a Yale, and Yale made locks, right? This one, sometimes, I mean, I've got a ton of keys here, folks, too. I've got this little box up here. In fact, why don't I just, instead of telling you, why don't I just pull it down and show you? This is an old animal cracker box, but look at all the keys in there. And I've got different ones that they got like keychains. A lot of these are from vehicles even. This is from, well, it's a shooting gallery. All right, but that's not the one maybe, you know, we got it's a Lorma Sky. It's the trunk of, well, it's the trunk of their car, whatever car that was. We got others that say the actual vehicle that they're for. That one doesn't either. Well, doggone you. I'm trying to give you an example, and it's just not, it is not working out for me. What do we got here? It's a mobile home front. So we got mobile home ones. We got things. I've got one out here I pulled out earlier that is, it's John Deere. We got a John Deere. It's a keychain, an old keychain, and an old John Deere key to an old John Deere tractor. Now, John Deere stuff, brand stuff, hats and various things, they're pretty collectible. So like, I've seen keychains like this sell for $20 or $30 just the keychain, but I got a key. So, you know, don't pass them up. Old locks and keys, even if you don't have the lock, if it's old, if it's a unique looking, can definitely make some good money on it. Let's get into some other small items that I like to sell that do sell well for me. I make good margins on them, you know, regularly. Here's a pair of old spectacles, old eyeglasses, and they got this sort of tortoiseshell look to them. They're this round kind of like John Lennon, but these are kind of smaller. I mean, these things will regularly sell for me for $30, $50, sometimes even more than that. So this is really nice. Keep an eye out for old spectacles, old eyeglasses. Even if they're prescription, people buy those for a variety of reasons. We got some jewelry here, and jewelry is something that we buy and sell a lot. We're buying it all the time. Getting good deals on it. I buy things for $2 to $3 a piece all the time that I can easily make 10 times, 20 times my money back on. And so here's a few things. This one right here is kind of unique and interesting. I'd not come across one like this. This would be what they call kind of more of like a modern, or maybe even they call it brutalist. These would be some kind of design style words that they would use. But the brand is on the back here, Bayer, Baer. SF, San Francisco. It's a brooch. These things, you know, I paid $3 for it. I can probably sell that for $20, $30, something like that. And then this one right here, it's kind of a throwback look. It's definitely made to look like it's from the Victorian era, though it is not. It is newer. So this is sort of like a throwback look. But people like this design, this look. These would even fit together decently, and a lot if I wanted to do them together. I bought this actually today. It's just a bracelet. It's attractive looking. We got all the stones here. These are not just plastic. They're actually either glass, or they might even be crystals, although I suspect they're just cut glass. Still pretty attractive. It's heavier. It's well made. I've looked for marks, and what I discovered on the bottom, so this is an interesting piece, right? Because if I zoom in here, it's got this sort of like band here where you can actually pull these almost like drawstrings and cinch it up, right, and make it tighter. And then on this particular piece right here, you can see on the underside, I guess maybe on this side, right under there, it's very small. You can't even see it if I, oh, well, maybe you can see it there if I zoom in. Oh, maybe it's on this side. Nope, it's on the other side. There it is. It says PD. PD, Premier Designs, is the maker of this. And Premier Designs is, you know, they've got a lot of stuff out there. Sometimes it says PD. Sometimes it says, it has like their emblem. Now, you got to be careful because sometimes PD can mean palladium. And in this case, it is not made of palladium. It is Premier Designs. The most expensive piece of bracelet that has sold, that's a Premier Design bracelet in the last 90 days on eBay, is only sold for about $27, $28. So you're not making tons of money. It was one actually very similar to this, but it is an attractive piece. It's something people might wear today. It's in good condition. I think I could sell it for between $18 and $20. So again, a $3 investment, not too bad. Then we're going to go back in time a little bit. This is older. This is actually is a mechanical pencil. It's not made of silver, but it is silver tone, and up here at the top, it says the American, what does it say? American Silverco. I can't get it to zoom in on it exactly, but or maybe American Pencil Co., something like that. I'm not looking close enough at it, but this would have been, you could put it on a little chain, so it would have been attached to something, and there's lead inside of it. You twist it, just like a normal mechanical pencil, but this is an older one. It's silver plated, I believe. So this, again, I could probably get $20 out of that, and I think I only paid $1. Here's a couple of other things. Now, these are not the best examples, the most valuable examples. I've come across ones that are made of sterling silver and gold-plated ones that sell for better. But these are just old, small, collectible spoons. And it says Rolex at the time, Lucerne. I think that this is Swiss. Yes, Bucher of Switzerland. And so it's great to have two. Right? One, I think I've sold one before for $8 or $10. Two of them, maybe I throw them up for 16 bucks or maybe $20 free shipping. And again, I just paid $1 for each of them, so $2 in. This is how we make most of our money, folks. We buy things for $2 or $3, we sell them for $20, $25, and we just do that a lot of times. It's really not complicated, and it's also not difficult for you, where you're at, to find things like this. I almost guarantee you, around you, you're going to have some thrift stores and stuff and places that have things like this. Here we have a couple of stud earrings that are, what these are pearls. They're gray pearls. They're South Sea cultured pearls. They're a gray color, and they've got sterling silver backs. Now, sometimes you'll find them with solid gold backs, and those will bring more money typically. But I bought these today. I paid actually $3 a piece for each of them, which is a little high for ones that, like stud ones, that don't have gold on them, but I'm only $6 in. I've got two different sizes. The optimal thing to do will be to photograph them, sell them in a lot, measure them, and I could say, I don't know what these are, but let's just assume they're 10 millimeters wide and 5 millimeters wide. I could say, two, South Sea, they're the same type. This is slightly lighter gray, but sell them together to the same person. If a person who likes the color and the look of one, they're going to like the other, they'll get 2 for $1, different sizes, wear them at different times, put them up, I don't know, $20 to $30, and somebody's going to buy it on that. Well, let's take a break for just a moment. I got to run over real fast, meet with a friend to get some things that I'm going to sell for him. Let me tell you a quick update on a recent problem that I had on eBay, and then we'll get right back to this. Whilst I've got your ear here, I wanted to give you an update on a situation with eBay and an item that I had sold across the country that a person wanted to return. It was a large piece of equipment. The short story is that I sold it. They said that part of it was broken. I reached out to the manufacturer. I got the broken parts, new ones. I paid for them. They shipped them to me. I shipped them to the buyer. The buyer got them and said, I'm still not happy. Initiated a return. I didn't feel like I should have to accept the return since I'd already worked on trying to resolve it and spent money. eBay said I had to anyways, after multiple calls and customer support telling me various things that were all conflicting and not true. Then I finally had to accept the return, and it took them 2 weeks to return it. Thought that the case was closed multiple times. eBay said the case was closed in my favor, but then that ended up not being true. The item did arrive back at me. However, the buyer put it in the package. This is like a 40-pound item, by the way, and it was being shipped from Oregon all the way to North Carolina. It arrived, and they had not put any packaging in the box at all. I mean, they just literally took a box, put a 40-pound large item in it, and then just sealed up the box. So as you can imagine, when it got back to me, the box was heavily damaged, and the item was destroyed. It was a piece of equipment that had a motor in it. The motor had been completely broken off of the mount and was non-functional. And so I contacted eBay. I told them what happened. They said, here's this affidavit you got to sign saying that you got it back and it was damaged. And I did that, and I sent pictures, and then I got an email from eBay. After all, this is like a 2.5 week process, where they said, well, we can't tell from the pictures if it is in bad condition or not, so we're going to close this case and we're not going to give you anything. So they held my money for over a month, my payouts. I couldn't make any money from any of my other sales, and the buyer got my item, which was new when they got it. They used it. They got new items from me that I paid for, backup, like new components. Then they shipped the item back to me in used condition, did not attempt to package it, so it was completely damaged beyond repair. So I lost about $1,300, folks. $1,300. You should know, eBay has alerted me that if an item sells that's worth over $1,000, there's this other level of eBay workers that review things. So at one time they had actually, a supervisor had closed my case in my favor, and then I've discovered that this other, you know, the deep dark background workers had actually reviewed it and denied the case to be closed. So I didn't get any of my money. So I'm out $1,300. So it's just a cautionary tale. I don't really know what to tell you other than that's the risk. If you have something really valuable, eBay 99.99% of the time will side with the buyer. They're not going to protect the seller. You know what? This is my 3rd year. I'm on track to do 6-digit sales on eBay, over 6 figures. And I've been selling on eBay for about 21, 22 years. I make eBay a lot of money, or they make a lot of money off of me, and but that did not matter at all. So my only recourse here is I've actually deconstructed the rest of that machine, harvested whatever components I could find that would still be able to be used, and I'm going to be selling those as replacement parts on eBay. I may get half my money back. It's going to take a lot more work, but I mean, this is the kind of stuff you got to do. So be careful if you're going to ship something or sell something over $1,000. Just know that if there's trouble, you're not going to get a lot of support from eBay. eBay can get on here and disagree with me if they want to, but that has been my experience. I use that platform because the most buyers come to that platform. Not because it's the greatest platform in the world, but I do use it, so I'm just being real with you. That's the update. I was very upset with the buyer. I was more upset with the terrible customer service that I got from eBay. Not just bad customer, I mean, they were nice enough. They just told me things that were not true. They told me to do certain things that I did, and those things that I did later on, they told me that I shouldn't have done those things. So it's just kind of a mess, folks. Anyway, I'm on my way over here right now to a friend's house, and I'm going to pick up some items to sell for him. So yeah, I do this for a living. I almost always just buy and sell my own things, but sometimes if a friend asks, I'll help them out. And so I'm going to get over there, get a few things. We'll see what I'm going to be able to sell for them. This right here is a carved figure of, like, you know, a lion or a tiger, something like that. I'm not exactly sure what the stone is that it's made out of. It's some sort of a hard stone, maybe soapstone, something like that. But you can see it has this hole down through the middle of it. So I believe that this hole is here to hold an incense, a little stick that would burn incense, and I believe this would have probably originally sat on a little carved wooden stand, or it would have been with others similar, but maybe different shapes, different animals, and you would have had a bunch of incense. That thing cost me 50 cents. It's going to be easy to sell that for $10 or more, depending on the particular, you know, buyer. And then we've got a really cool, I've had this a little while, but I pulled it out to kind of sell it with the rest of the stuff and show you. Pocket watches and watches are things that I sell all the time. I buy them at yard sales. I get ones that don't work. I prefer to find ones that are automatics, meaning you can crank them up and they will keep time without needing a battery. But if I buy things, if it's a nice enough brand, okay, and I can see that they're selling pretty well, I'll go out and search for the battery and put the battery in, or have somebody put the battery in for me. Otherwise, I'll just sell it as is. I'll say, you know, not tested, essentially. May not work, be advised. This is one that would have be on a chain. A person would wear it as a necklace, okay? And then this would hang down like a pendant. And let me show you how cool this is when I wind it up. So look at this face. It looks kind of bizarre, kind of strange. Okay, I've winded it up. Now look at it. Watch it. Do you see that? How it's moving in? It's just this little flat piece of metal has been cut in such a way that as it rotates, the light hits it and reflects a certain way, and you can see how that is cranked and it's turning. It's really cool. It's a very cool piece to wear. It's always kind of moving. It's very interesting, I think. This it says Locklau, maybe? It's a Swiss movement. So I've had more success with watches and pocket watches that have Swiss movements than ones that have Japanese movements. I'm not saying one's better than the other. I'm just saying that they sell better for me. And I would say that things that are quirky or odd like this also tend to sell pretty well. So that's a nice small item. Watches, it's okay to buy watches even if they don't work. They can still sell. I bought both of these today, and this is pretty fun. They're similar but different. So let's talk about them. They are brooches. These are costume pieces of jewelry. That's jewelry, okay, folks? It sells really well for us. This is a somewhat attractive. They're the same type of thing. These are made to look like coconut, or pineapples, not coconuts, doggone yous. We got this one right here. It's got kind of a pretty green stone on the top there, but multicolored stones, gemstones. These are probably just rhinestones or glass. And the back, there's no see-through in the back. Also, there's no spot that actually shows who the maker or manufacturer is of that. That's unfortunate, but I'll do some Google Lens stuff and see. It's an attractive looking piece. Oh, where was that? No. My goodness gracious. Where? No. This is so frustrating. I do this every time. No. Maybe it's under here. No. Oh, I found it. So sorry about that. I'm kind of clumsy sometimes. And then here's another one, and this one's is also quite nice and attractive. And when I saw it, they had a look to me that looked like a little bit different than just glass. This one is much more attractive looking. Folks, I got to cut my thumbnail. Please do not judge me. I've just been working so hard. I've been on vacation. I haven't done it yet. On the back here, it's a nice gold tone. There are no marks for gold or silver, but you see down here in the middle, there's a C, and then you can see this little emblem right here on the right. It looks like a swan. And so what I know from that is that this the brand of this is it's a Swarovski. So these are Swarovski crystals on here, folks. And I looked this puppy up. There are a few of them for sale on eBay. Again, I paid $3 a piece for these. 3 for that, 3 for this. This place always sells their costume jewelry for $3 a piece. People have them listed for $80. Several of them have been listed for $75 and have sold, but they took a best offer. I don't know how much they took off of it, but one sold at auction for $45. So I think my low end is about $40, $45. $3 investment, not bad. It's a very attractive looking costume piece, and brooches particularly are quite hot right now, so don't pass them up. All right, here's another watch, an example of that I got today, and this is one that's just kind of quirky. So what's cool is that it's the brand says Taboo Taboo. I've never seen it before. You look over on the back, on the bottom, and it says Paris. It's designed by, it has the name of the person that designed it. It's a leather band, definitely used. The front's cool. It looks like water on the face, and then in the center here, the dials, the hands, are like a sailboat and the sail. And so if you crank this little part right here, it will rotate that sail around, and the boat rotates around as well. Very cool. This would be something, a cool gift or something to buy for someone who likes to sail, or that's a part of their life, or it's a hobby of theirs. And so for $3, I don't have a new battery in it, but I've seen some of these sell for a lot of these by this brand are listing for $75 for brand new watches. Let me just cut that in half, $35, $40. That could be a good flip there. Here's a couple of items that are also small that a lot of people might not think of would have any value, and that's chucks. So chucks are these things that you would use to tighten or loosen the part that holds a bit on an electric drill. Like a driver or a drill that would have bits that you drill things into. And they're different sizes, and they go to different pieces of equipment. But if you do a quick inspection, you kind of rotate around, you'll see right here, it says B&D 74323. You could look that up on Google or on eBay and figure out what type of device it goes to. And then someone who has that device, but they lost their chuck to tighten and loosen it, they need a replacement perfect because you have that now for them. And you can look at other ones. We've got this one, Jacobs, KKA, Jacobs, perfect. So you could maybe measure the width of this chuck part here that was the little teeth, and you would use it to stick in, you open it or tighten it. These are things you can just throw up there. They're not the type of thing that's going to sell tomorrow unless someone's searching for it, but it's a thing you could easily put up for 10, 15 bucks, and eventually somebody's going to buy it outright, or they're going to send you an offer, and you're just waiting for it. Sometimes you can find stuff like this for 10 or 15, 20 cents, 50 cents at yard sales or places, because a lot of people don't think. Items that are replacements, things like this, people lose all the time, and they still, they don't want to stop using their piece of equipment. They just need the little piece that goes with it. And so it's nice to pick these up when you can. Other small items that always sell, and usually for decent money, are pocket knives, especially if they're in good condition, are vintage, maybe popular brands like this, Victorinox, otherwise known as a Swiss Army knife. And at the top here, you've got with the typical tweezers on one side and the toothpick on the other. Not exactly the most hygienic idea, or having a little plastic toothpick, but, whatever, that's fine. If you open her up here, let me see if I can do it with my one hand here. Let's see how, can he? No, I can't. All right, much easier for me to just, do it. Here we go. You open up the main blade at the bottom by the base. It says Victorinox Swiss-made stainless. You turn it over, and this is a particular model, Officier Suisse. All right, which is nice, I guess. I don't know what it means, but that's just the model, folks. And so this right here, this was at a thrift store that was marked for $10, but the day I went, it was 50% off everything. So I got it for $5, and I'm going to turn around and sell this pocket knife, which is a well-known, well-collected, respected brand in good condition for somewhere between $25 and $30, most likely. Okay, let's back up here. Marbles. Now, you're probably, if you go to antique stores, places like that, you're probably seeing marbles a lot. I see marbles all the time. Now, how do you know if a marble is old or new? How do you know if it's valuable or not? Well, that is actually a tough question. There are a lot of collectors out there for marbles, and there are a lot of videos on YouTube that talk about things that are and are not valuable when it comes to marbles. So I recommend you do that. This is not going to be a video on that. However, I wanted to show you these. These are some that are more valuable than the average kind. And why is that? Well, I'm going to show you right now. All right, I've given you some other marbles on one side that are also, kind of colorful. And so you see these and you think, okay, and you look over here and you see these and you think, okay. To the untrained person, you might think that these are all the same. Same value, maybe newer, maybe older, you don't know, but like, what gives? Well, let me show you something kind of cool. I'm going to go shut off the light, and I'm going to put a light on these. This is a fluorescent light, a black light, flashlight, on each of these, and I'm going to show you something kind of wild. Okay, lights out. I've got my light. I'm going to turn it on here. Boom. Now, did you see that? Look at this. If I come over here on these, nothing. But if I go to these, all of a sudden, look at how these things, look at how they get real bright. Real bright. These don't do anything, but this one especially on the bottom right, gets just really, really bright yellow or bright green from this fluorescent light. And why is that? Well, these marbles are a little bit special. They're a little bit different. They're made out of something what they refer to as uranium glass. There was a time during the Depression and during early 1900s when several types of glassware, things like dishes, things like glasses, things like oil lamps, vases, stuff like that, were made with very small trace amounts of uranium, which is like a radioactive substance. And these marbles are also some things were made glass that had that in it. So it's not going to hurt you or anything, but there's big collectors for that. So this marble right here, I could probably sell for at least $20, this one little marble, because it fluoresces so much under that light. These, on the other hand, are kind of cool, but they're not nearly as valuable as these. So I don't know what to tell you. Like maybe you could carry, you know, a little flashlight. If you get a small black light with you, you could take that out with you, along with things like a loop and a magnet and other things that you want to have when you're sourcing for inspection of different things. But when you find those jars of marbles, maybe shine a light on it. If any of those things blink at you with this bright light, then, you know, you might consider buying those, because they're likely going to be worth more than the average marble. There's tons more we could talk about with marbles, but I'll save that for another video. Oh man, there are so many more things I want to get to and talk to you about, and I'm running out of time here. Flo's getting back soon, and I got to help her with something, so let me try to speed it up a little bit. I get a little bit too mouthy a little bit with talking about things, but let's get into it. Okay, so here is a knife. It's small, and you can tell the brand is Cutco. Cutco knives are very collectible. People love these little things. I think you can send them in to the company to get sharpened. I think sometimes I think maybe this is the kind that has a lifetime guarantee. Some of you can tell me. But what you do is you look on the blade. It'll say Cutco, and it says a number, 1020. So you just look up 1020. That's the model of this particular one, and you'll find that this is just a nice little paring knife. And these sell for $20 to $30, and I paid $1 for it at a thrift store. You'll know by the contour of the handle. They're very distinct, very comfortable in the hand, but I can tell a lot of times by just seeing the handle that it's going to be a Cutco knife, and that's great. Here's this little box. Sometimes you can sell containers like this, especially when they're solid wood and they're old, just the container itself. But look at this. Inside here, we got some little hand tools, and these are made for little wood carving. You can see they got nice little tips, different types. I could use this both for woodworking, but if I were so inclined, like say to make a block print, which is a type of artwork where you use wood or linoleum or something, I could carve that out and make a piece of artwork. Done it before, folks. But these are nice because they're small. They can fit in a very small, like a 6x9 bubble mailer, for example. You would just want to put some stuff around the blade so they don't poke through the package. But these could sell really good. I've got this in with a bunch of stuff from an antique store that I bought, so I didn't buy it individually. I haven't looked them up yet, but I guarantee stuff like this will sell. Not only will old glasses and spectacles, which we already talked about, sell for various reasons. Believe it or not, if you ever come across just replacement lenses, look at these. Some of these are prescription and some of them are not, but I can sell this grab bag. This cost me 50 cents, folks, 50 cents. So I'm going to be able to sell these to somebody who wants. There's a prescription here. You can see these are readers. You can read in the bottom of those. Somebody needs these. I don't exactly know how I'm going to go about making the listing yet, but it's stuff that a lot of people would think doesn't have any value, and it does, folks. It really does. I don't ship and sell a lot of glass or ceramics, but when I see things with certain shapes or certain sizes, I'm more inclined to. This would be delicate. I have to make sure I really wrap it up, bubble wrap it well, put it in a box. But there's a few things going for this piece. Number one, it's green glass. Green glass things sell pretty well for me usually. People like that color. Number two, this is a handmade, like a blown glass, an artist-made piece. Okay, you can tell just by the way that it's made. It's got these nice colored, I don't know what you call this, but this is some sort of a look, a design, a pattern, however you want to call it. So it's pretty, it's artisan made, it's handmade, it's green. It's also the shape of kind of like a genie lamp. And genie lamp shaped things, there's a collector market for that. I don't know what was originally here, if it was a cork or if there was actually a glass topper here. Either way, it's gone. So that's a bummer. I got to clean off some of the residue from the sticker tag here, but I paid $3 for this, and I imagine I could sell this for at least $20 because I know people like this kind of thing. Here's something you don't see every day. Some of you may know what it is, some of you may not. But this is called a mandrel. A mandrel is a thing that you use to size or just to check what the size of a ring would be. So most mandrels are going to have, they can be made out of various types of materials, plastic oftentimes, or heavy ones that, like, say, people who are jewelers have would be made of metal like this. And oftentimes they'll have a line here and they'll have numbers, sizes, right? Whole sizes, half sizes, quarter sizes, little ticks, just like you would have on, say, a ruler. And you put the ring on the end of it and it drops down. And if it drops over the 7, it's a size 7, and so on. So this one is quite old. It doesn't actually have the lines on it. And so either the lines were originally on here and have worn off, they weren't etched in, or perhaps this was made simply for a person who's a jeweler to put them on and press them down, hammer them, do some kind of work on them, so that wasn't really for size and it was more for doing the actual creation of the piece. Either way, mandrels and older ones can sell for quite a bit of money. Again, it's not a very big thing. It's actually quite heavy. It's probably a couple of pounds here in my hand, maybe 3 pounds. But you know, these things can sell as much as $50, $75 in this condition, believe it or not. Here's another thing. I've kind of bought these all separately at different times, and I've not sold them yet, so I'm going to put them all in a lot and move them. And these are old snuff bottles. They're not that old. These two are made out of some sort of carved resin. Okay, this one's got like a bird. I think I've shown that on another video. And then these are made of glass, and they have a painting, like a painted picture on the outside of them. As you can see here, there's 2 of them. This one and that one over there have the toppers. A couple of them don't. That brings the value down a little bit, but people who collect these will be happy to find a lot of 4 different colored, different designed ones. So I have no problem. I suspect I'll be able to sell this for at least $30 to $40, $10 a piece, possibly up from there. A lot of times if you sell these individually, you can sell for $20 to $30 a piece if they have the topper on them. If not, there'll be a little bit less than that. Okay, now we're getting into specialty tools or hand tools. These tools are very small, generally speaking, hand tools. I don't even know what this one is for. It's almost like a slide ruler, maybe some sort of a measuring instrument, but I'm not exactly sure yet. It does have the manufacturer here, Crown Tools in Sheffield, England, made of very nice wood and brass. And then this is also made of brass. I believe that this is a watchmaker's tool of some kind. You've got a way of measuring things, holding things in place. I don't know, there's no name on it, but there is this small kind of lion maker's mark on there of whoever the manufacturer was. I'll look it up. Google Lens is really nice for that, or even looking things up. Looks like at the bottom there is a name, actually, as I'm pulling it up here. What does that say? Let me go back over here. It says DLPP, and there's like a star and a thing in there. That's cool. Well, we'll look it up, won't we? But things like this, especially specialty tools, vintage things, there are big markets for that kind of stuff. Here's something that's kind of fits in the same realm. It's in this leather case, which is honestly deteriorating, unfortunately. But it is a slide ruler. I'm not going to pull the whole thing out, but you can see a model number there in the end. This would be, what do we got? 406. Or 408, but you got this slide. Well, there's the brand is K&E, Company of New York. It's got a patent number. This is a vintage. I mean, this is an antique slide ruler. People collect these. You got someone's initials here. Someone with the initials B, C, and D at one time owned this. I get that a lot with even metal tools. People will etch their initials or their name in it because they didn't want to get it stolen. Here's this thing I showed you earlier. We're going to sell that. It's small as well, even though it's made of glass. It's small. We got a bunch of decanter toppers up here. Here's some other things we're going to talk about that are small. Like here's a bunch of old compasses and drafting tools, various ages, various manufacturers. A lot of them are from Germany. Vintage things, drafting tools. They're still usable. Over here we have some small toys. These are like die cast little like army men and different people in here. Some of them are made, you could hand paint them. Others have already been painted, heavily played with, but that's okay. There's still a collector market for that. Old utensils. We've got some in here that are made of sterling silver. We've got some who have these like almost like an abalone mother of pearl handles. Beautiful stuff. These are from 1800s. People collect these if they have very interesting looks, carved parts of the handles, or even if there's some sort of an imprint, let's say, in the bottom of the spoon or something like that. People will definitely buy those either individually or even in lots. I put this here. I'm not going to pull it all out, but it's basically this vintage, I'm guessing from either the 1940s or the 1950s, hand-stitched skirt. It's beautiful. It definitely has some discoloration spots due to age, but these can be used for say, people buying something for the arts, for theater. Maybe they need a costume. Maybe they just collect a particular thing. Maybe they want to repurpose the fabric and use it for something else. But you see a big thing like this, a dress, a skirt, a shirt, and you think, well, Rusty, that's not a small. Well, you know what? I wouldn't do it with this particular piece because of how old and fragile it is. But if you get a shirt or a skirt or something, you could just fold that puppy or roll it up, and guess what? It's small enough now. It's a small. It's not heavy. It's lightweight. You can store it. You can roll it up. Here are some vintage clutch purses, and the thing that's unique about these, aside from the fact that they're kind of old, is that they're made of eel skin. Eel skin. So this right here, this is essentially leather. This came from an eel. They cut up an eel, and they tanned its hide, and they sewed it into a purse, and both of these are eel skin. This one's a lighter brown, kind of almost a cream brown color, but these are vintage. I wouldn't personally carry one of these around. I don't carry clutches, first of all, but if I did, this wouldn't exactly be my style, but someone out there likes that. The vintage things, it's a style preference, or people just like kind of the old looks of things. Here's some old knives, and you can see how old. They got these rivets holding the wood handle to the blade itself. I'm going to sell these together in a lot because a person who likes this, the look of this or the style of that, it's the same as this, right? They can get 2 for 1. I'm getting really low on time here, folks, today. But I really wanted to show you there, and this is just a small list, folks. This is not even like a large list of small items. Small items are things that I can kind of mostly hold in my hand. It's a little bit longer, but this is kind of cool. I bought it, and on the bottom it says it says I set. It's a Murano glass vase. Okay, kind of nice, clear glass, but still in pretty good condition, and I only paid $5 for that because they didn't know it was marked. If you can find ones of really good manufacturers or artist-made pieces, look on the bottom because they might have an etching of initials, a date, maybe a model number, or if you're lucky, the artist's name, so you'll know exactly who it was that made it. People really like that kind of stuff. This I kind of took a flyer on. I just bought it because of how unusual it was. I'd never seen one before. It's a glass with also a stir and spoon, but the entire thing has enamel paint all over it. Again, not my style, but I paid $8 for it, and I suspect I'll be able to sell it for $20 or $30. I need to research it, but I took a little bit of a risk. It wasn't too much to pay for to get into it. Oh man, so many things. And I've not even started getting into talking about rocks and mineral collections, of which I have several. If you'll look here, I've got a bunch of old fossils. We've got ammonites. We've got various, this is like an entire shell that is put together. This is a gigantic fossil. It's entirely intact. We got other kind of things here, almost like this right here, like a seed pod. It's intact. Here's another one of these shells. It's almost like, look at that. The shells on either side of it, and whatever the dirt was inside has completely hardened into stone. Super cool stuff. We've got obsidian. We've got larger artifacts like geodes. And then even over in here, we have what were originally rough like this, but now they are spheres made like marbles. This is like fluorite right here. We've got stuff right here like... this looks like tiger iron. We've got, different ones, dragon's blood ones right here. Beautiful spheres like marbles. Now, you wouldn't want to shoot them like marbles because they would deteriorate and break up. But we got rose quartz. We've got straight up quartz, just cut to look like hearts. I mean, all kinds from Madagascar. And we got oodles of these. So when you buy them, you can put them up in one listing for, say, $5 for one. But then you can say, I have a quantity of 100. And then you only have to do one listing, but you got 100 items now in your store for sale. Small things like this are fantastic. Let me kind of show you what I use to package them in. Nearly everything I showed you in this video today would go in one of 3 packages. An 8.5 by 11 inch bubble mailer, a 6 by 9 bubble mailer, and I ran out. I noticed during this video I've ran out, but I have an envelope that's white, that's barely larger than this postcard, the size of a postcard. It's thin, it's white, it's not bubbly, but it's just like a little bit like cardboard. So those 3 sizes, and if it's a little bit more fragile, you're worried it would pop through, let's say these, then you just use a 6 by 6 by 6, wide, tall, and deep box. And that's it, folks. It's easy. Shipping these is really never more than $4 to $5, sometimes less, and a box as well could be less than that. So shipping is cheap. You can store a bunch, and it's just much easier and a lot less hassle to deal with stuff that's really tiny like this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, folks. There's so much to do and not enough time. But remember, things like jewelry, pocket knives, marbles, small tools, ink pens, good night. What other kinds of things? Little small cars, action figures, postcards, stamps, coins. I mean, the list goes on. Stuff you can hold in your hand, folks. That's really an easy life of reselling if you can find those things. Good luck to you, and we'll see you soon.
Beep, boop, boop,
Let's go make some money.
Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, 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 how to? Rusty, Rusty.